Hey, Red Pill Dad here. Had a couple things on my mind today, wanted to get off my chest, so let's dive right in. First thing I want to talk about is meeting your heroes. Everybody's heard the expression, don't meet your heroes, they won't live up to your expectations. Well, that couldn't be any more true than with America's top gymnast, Simone Biles. In her recent statements and back and forth with Riley Gaines, Simone is now championing the trans agenda and wants to include trans in sports, and i.e. include men in women's sports. So, as a father of two young girls and one gymnast, it makes me sad to see the biggest star in women's sports over the last, 15 years, except for maybe Caitlin Clark, call for the inclusion of men and the continued downfall of female athletes. I don't know. I don't think it's correct, obviously, as 80% of the country agrees men shouldn't be competing with women. Simple as that. We want to continue to dilute the playing field and minimize the accomplishments of female athletes to appease a group of mentally ill men, women, whatever. No. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with Simone. I found it a little bit ironic that she would go after the physique of Riley Gaines, considering, not everybody's a 3'7" muscle hamster with hammer toe that has to do a body positivity ad because you get bullied because you're so muscular. But then we want to come at another woman who actually had to compete against a man and was beaten by him. Yeah. Same lady that called foul on all the, rightfully so, called foul on all the sexual assault allegations against Larry Nassar, but now wants women to have to change in front of men. Why? To appease, again, a bunch of mentally ill, sick, depraved trannies? I don't know. You tell me, is that the sporting field you want your daughters growing up in? Or is that the athletics you want your young girls going into? I think 80% of you would say no, as is evident. Maybe we should just create another trans category. Oh, wait, we've done that. They did it. Most people don't know, but we have created another trans category, as Simone also suggested, to have more inclusive avenues of inclusion for trans athletes. Well, we've made a third category. We've made a trans category. Guess who doesn't want to compete in the trans category? Men who identify as women. Why do you think that is? I wonder. Could it be because they may have to actually compete against somebody else who has a penis and testosterone in their body? All right. The second topic I wanted to delve into is something I've talked quite a bit about in other videos, but I don't think it's been stated enough or loudly enough or enough people have heard it. The downfall and the fallacy that is Doge. Where to begin? Firstly, all of those lefties and liberals that were really upset that, Trump said in his State of the Union, we cut funding for whatever, the Iraqi Sesame Street, and the study of the successes of socioeconomic outcomes of the inclusion of the transgender pygmies in Nicaragua, or whatever it was, all these bullshit programs for USAID. Yeah, that was all fake. All those funds went right back in the budget. They went right back to the Pentagon and to DOD, and it went from soft power, these fake programs, to hard power, bullets, missiles, whatever you can think of in the military-industrial complex we are funding. So, I don't know how to feel about all this. It's the biggest rug pull, potentially, of my lifetime. I mean, Obama stating that he was going to close down Guantanamo Bay was, that was pretty fake. And we were going to get out of Afghanistan under Obama. That was also not real. But to say we want to drain the swamp, we want to end the deep state, we want to cut the budget, We want to cut the defense budget. We want to end the wars. We want to find out what happened in Butler County that day. The JFK files unredacted, the MLK files unredacted, the RFK files unredacted. None of it's happened. I'll end the war in 24 hours. The war's only ramped up. Ukraine, Russia. Palestine, Israel. We continue to fund a genocide. We continue to fund the bombing of the killing of babies. We continue to use Palantir technology for targeted strikes. I mean, the technocracy that we are bringing in to government is unprecedented. Are we draining the swamp? A little bit. Are we getting rid of the deep state? A little bit. Are we replacing it with a much larger swamp and a much newer technological deep state? Absolutely. That's what he's doing. He is bringing in the new elite. The new class of technocrats is the new class of the military-industrial complex. These are all defense contractors. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, they are defense contractors. It's no surprise that the darlings of the Democrats that only switch sides and turn against the Dems after the Joe Barack Kamala debacle and join the Trump side. Oh, maybe they just wanted to be in a close proximity to power. Could that be it? Maybe they just wanted everything for themselves. Maybe they still have a globalist agenda. Maybe Kamala wasn't smart enough or could sell the American people or had a following that would resist, so somebody else had to be allowed to get in there and say the things necessary to appease the right people, to not combat this ridiculous surveillance apparatus we're bringing on. If you think the Peter Thiel and Palantir and J.D. Vance and all of this funding isn't going to create digital profiles on all Americans, isn't going to usher in Real ID, isn't going to topple the US dollar in favor of central digitalized banking currencies, then I got a bridge to sell you. But that's the state of the Trump administration. Fractured, broken, technocratic, and untrustworthy. Not words I was hoping to say, 150 days into this administration, but prove me wrong. RFK seems to be the only one doing anything of what he said on the campaign trail in the administration. Tulsi Gabbard, I haven't heard from her in weeks. Kash Patel is the worst liar that anyone has ever allowed into a public space. Dan Bongino is a decent radio host and an unqualified public servant. They're all useful idiots. And so are we. We voted for the wrong thing. Unfortunately, there wasn't a right option. So, where do we go from here? Do we get our First Amendment back? Do we stop kowtowing to Israel with every goddamn request? Do we quit holding the Jewish people in such a regard that they're above every other religion, creed, and kind in the country? Are we going to continue to not allow people to have free thought, free speech, free ideas? Capitalism's clearly dead. Democracy is dying. Where do we go from here? All right. Well, that's enough for me. If you suffered through all of these rantings and ravings, I appreciate it. Comment below. Give me your thoughts. Till next time, have a happy afternoon.